This is Karikter asked it. You already know Karikter did it. I'm here with Shibu. He is a stand on his own artist. He makes music for himself. It's all personal songs, and I'm really excited to get to know you, man. Tell us about yourself.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate you having me over. As you said, I make a lot of personal songs for myself. I'm originally Indian from South India, but I grew up in Japan, and and then I came to Florida and then New York. I live in New York City right now, so I've been
Wow.
like all over, like all sorts of cultural, clashes within my
Yeah.
upbringing. So yeah, I try to bring that out in my music a little bit. Just like the whole cultural confusion that I had ever since I was a kid, and like my music is like a reflection of not just that, but also like a lot of the stuff I go through in my relationships in the past. And I'm not trying to say I blame my upbringing for a lot of like the failed relationships and stuff like that, but there's definitely like a level of confusion that attributes to it. So I like to be transparent about that kind of stuff, and through my art, through my music specifically. So
Okay.
yeah, that's
Were your
basically what
parents
I.
in the military?
No, that's like the first question that everyone asks, bro. So I'm not a military brat. I'm actually, my dad worked for Mitsubishi. He worked as an engineer,
Okay.
so that's why we moved there. I was born in India when I was like 2 years old. He got transferred from like his old plant in India to Japan.
Okay. Okay. And what brought you to Florida?
So again, the job transferred him back to Florida, so we ended up moving there right in time for like my college.
Okay.
So yeah, basically we stayed there for like a while. I was there for like almost 10 years.
What part of Florida?
Tampa Bay.
Oh, okay.
So I was there for like, yeah, since about like 5 years ago. And then I just had enough of Florida, man. I'm like, man, this is good. The beach is nice, but
I feel you.
it's getting a little old. So I need some more action. I grew up in Japan, so I need to be around like more people. Need to be around like
Were you in
like
Tokyo?
no, I was actually in Osaka, so like the southeast
Okay.
part. Yeah. So I was surrounded by like huge cities, and I would go to Tokyo every now and then too. So it's like that's what I know. Like public transport and going trains, and a lot of people being in a crowded environment. That's what I like. That's what gives me a lot of inspiration for my own art and stuff. So yeah.
Sure.
I had to move to the Mecca, man. I had to move to the busiest fucking place on the planet. So I had to come
Nice.
to New York.
It never
So of
sleeps, man. It never sleeps.
course, man.
Um, are you multilingual?
Yeah. So I speak. My mother tongue is Tamil, which is like the part of India I'm from. I'm from
Okay.
Tamil. So we speak Tamil. That's what I grew up speaking at home. And then I speak Japanese too. So I that's kind of like what I was raised there. So I naturally speak Japanese. I grew up speaking it, and then obviously English. So yeah, trilingual.
It's crazy. I barely hear an accent in your English.
Yeah, because I used to have one, man. I got rid of it over because I've been here for so long. I've been in America for like 14 years now. So, um, I mean, yeah, it's just like it took a while, bro. Because I didn't exactly have an Indian accent before. I had like a weird like mix of Japanese and Tamil. It was like a confused thing going on. So,
That's
so
funny.
it took a while. But now I sound more American according to like American people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
So
sure. Like I could hear these little like when you said according, I heard like a little Indian accent. But
yeah,
but it's very plain. Like it's crazy. Most people, I don't care how long you're here, and most people don't ever get rid of it like that.
yeah, one hundred
I think
percent,
it just
man.
shows you
Yeah.
how adaptive you are. It's probably how you grew up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like from since I was a kid, it was just like we were always on go mode, right? We were
Yeah.
always like even before I was two, like apparently when I was like 6 months old, we moved from like my hometown in India to like another part up north. So I've been moving since I was like, before I knew how to talk properly, probably. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Um. Uh. Whoa. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Uh. How old are you?
32.
32. Okay. So how long have you been making music?
So I've been making music since about like 2014 ish. That's when I started like dropping music on SoundCloud and things like that. I've been like performing here and there at like local talent shows and stuff in college, like a little before that. Maybe like 13 years total. But I've been like actively like dropping music, since like about 9 years ago, and then like officially dropping music on Spotify and things like that, Apple Music, only like the past couple of years.
Okay. What made you want to start dropping music?
So I was always into hip hop. I grew up listening to rap since I was since I was a kid, in Japan. And so what made me want to drop music myself, because I was always like an introvert growing up. I wasn't able to really express myself because I was too shy to do that. So I wasn't really good at making friends coming up in Japan. A lot of that has to do with also me not fitting in due to having little different cultures clashing. But I feel like music was an outlet for me because of that. Because
Hmm.
I was such an introvert, I held a lot of that shit in. And then, you know, eventually when I learned about the art of rapping and the art of freestyling and the art of just like writing, and writing bars and making rhythmic schemes, that's when I realized, you know what, maybe I can like say all the shit that I wanted to say to people on wax. So I just started like spitting. It was really in college where I really like started doing that actively, like just freestyling at like local parties here and there, and then started writing a lot. So writing is like my main thing. It's like my main, I guess like my main gift, right?
Sure.
'Cause a lot of projects based off of my writing. So I guess because I was an introvert, because I held a lot of shit in, that's kind of what like motivated me to like put everything out into a song.
Yeah, that's been a common theme in these interviews. Honestly, everyone has said, I'm a shy person. I'm a really shy person, but I think that the truth is that still waters run deep.
Yeah.
When the quiet person speaks, you listen. It's a trait of you artists for sure. Like,
Yeah, for sure, man. Even like comedians, right? A lot of them grew up like being a little too shy and like being too anxious and like on like the darker side of like life, right? And then they came up like that. That was a great outlet for them. It was like the pendulum
yep,
completely swung the other way for them,
yep.
where they found. So, yeah, man. I am not surprised at all.
Tell me about some of the accomplishments that you've achieved in all this time you've been making music.
Whoa, so I'm like, even though I've been making music for like 9 years, I've been like extremely inconsistent, man. So for me, the accomplishments are like just starting to like scratch the surface. I've like been able to perform in front of like a couple of big artists from back home in Tamil Nadu.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so like I've been really building a network, like within like my community, like my Tamil community, my Indian
Sure.
community. And because of that, because I already had a solid foundation of friends and a good network there, they all like fucked my music, obviously. So like they've been pushing it out, and then like I was able to perform, like I said, in front of a couple of like a big time established
How did that
artists. And
happen?
it's just through like obviously like I'm connected to people who know people from back home, and like if you're connected to my community, right? You have connects to people in the industry in India, and then so like we got like a couple of community organizations here that like bring people from like back home over here. They sponsor them. They give them the visa to come over here to perform. To try to it's mutually beneficial. It's beneficial for the organizations here to be like to kind of validate how to kind of validate them and
Sure.
the thing. If we have established artists from back home, it's also good for the artists because they can expand their reach beyond just India. They can have an
Absolutely.
American.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's also beneficial for local artists like myself because I can get connects with them, and it just like expands the music scene a little bit. So in terms of accomplishments, I would say I was really able to hone in on those connects,
Hmm.
and like I said, just still scratching the surface, but I feel like I've tapped into that side of the demographics, like the Indian, like the South Asian community,
Yeah. Hey,
very like. just tapping into it, but getting there, you know.
That's a unique kind of approach at the game, but it's your approach, and I think that like you're already picking up traction with it, bro. I think it's a great way to go.
Yeah,
Who else is doing that? You know, like
yeah,
who's
yeah,
your competition?
yeah,
It's just you,
yeah,
bro. Like
yeah, man. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to like, because of the fact that it's very unique. I have both the Japanese background and the South Indian background, and I'm an American artist. Ultimately, I'm an American artist, right? So I'm really trying to kind of utilize all of those things, you know.
you're an
And like,
artist of the earth, bro.
yeah, exactly, bro. That's what I like to say. I'm an artist of this planet. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
That's
yeah,
cool. That's cool as hell. That is such a unique perspective you have. That's such a unique story that like I don't know. I can't wait to see where you go with your music. You know, I just now today got a chance to go through some of it, and I heard there was one song you had a just a dumb hard verse that talked about how you're multicultural and you know
yeah,
you should leave the homeland and things like the motherland and things like that.
yeah,
You
yeah.
you 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 communicate your experience very well in your lyrics. It's impressive.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, bro.
Tell
Yeah.
me about some of the obstacles that you faced.
So it really comes all down to like me being an introvert growing up. You know, I went like I'm like a very complex person in terms of like how I think. Right. I always wanted to be popular. I've always wanted to be the guy, the star. But there are so many like insecurities within myself and like with the way I looked and everything that kind of got in the way of that. So I kind of like that made me like change it, like the entire nature of who I became. Um, so because of that, I went through long stretches in my younger days where I didn't have any friends, I didn't have much people to like talk to, and for me, an obstacle was it was a combination of that what I just said, like not fitting in, with the combination of also just like being like the shittiest student ever, and like for an Indian, bro, it was like the fucking worst mix you can think of. Like if you're like a shitty student, you better be good at sports, which I was not good at. You better be like, have something going on. You know what I mean? You better like, I don't know, be partying, like, have a good social circle with girls. I had none of that in high school, dude. Like it took a while for me to get to that point. So it was like a self-imposed kind of obstacle, just like me being very insecure with myself. I was trying to be something, but like that I wasn't. I was trying to be like the cool introvert because I realized maybe I'm not meant to be like the popular kid, but that didn't work either. I was always unhappy with myself, which reflected onto like my outlook on relationships and girls and like just life in general. So it was just a lot of like me struggling with grades and not able to do anything right, which actually like I'll be exploring that a lot in my next my upcoming project.
Okay.
It's gonna out of my high school like struggles that I faced and like the obstacles I faced, being just like a really bad student, just not giving a shit about grades. I was too busy trying to be popular, which I was failing at also. So I was just failing at everything. But somehow I just grinded it out, man. I grinded it out. I'm like, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make something out of my life. So somehow I'm like, fuck it. I gotta get out of this like this mental like shithole that I'm living in. And
So how'd you do it?
bro, I'll be honest, man. It took just a lot of willpower and just a lot of blind faith in myself. One thing I always was, even though I was very insecure with myself, and like there was times where it was like, like I had very bleak visions for my future. I always was overall a positive person. I always like told myself I'm gonna do something with my life that
I'm gonna
makes me happy.
figure this shit out one day.
I will figure this shit out one day. Even if I die trying, I will die a happy person. So
Yo,
uh, I knew it's just that relentlessness. I felt like I went through so much shit, right? Whether it's like being bullied or not fitting in, or like the girls that were like fucking with my heart. I went through so much shit, and also like more serious like family shit. that like I felt like nothing could break me. I'm like
Mm,
I've been through so much shit in my life, mentally, that like I feel like my mind at least has been sharpened to the point where like I can do anything. You know what I mean? It's all in my mind at that point. Um,
you've been in
so
training.
yeah, bro. Like I serious like through like college. That's when like I discovered like the art of like rapping, and I realized that I could be like the same people that inspired me, right? Like the Eminems and the Kanyes and all those people who are so intent on disrupting hip hop so much with their unique sense of transparency. I was like, I could be like that, whether it's to like the random Indian kid who listens to me, or it's to the masses in America, whoever wants to listen to me. I can be that person because I used to be that fucking guy who was an introvert. So it was just a whole lot of willpower, and I realized my biggest strength was resiliency. Right, I was super resilient. I'm like, whatever happens, I'm gonna come out positive, and I'm gonna move on to the next thing. It's all about moving on to the next thing.
Damn right, bro.
Yeah, it's like I feel like a lot of us just live in our heads too much. You know what I mean? We live in
Mm-hmm.
our heads too much. It's like, okay, there's gonna be like shit that's gonna happen to you, but why not put it like in like something like art or something in your work, something else where you can move on and you can actually enrich your life. You know what I mean? That was always my mindset growing up.
Hell yeah, I absolutely agree, bro. Making music changed my life. It's the most therapeutic, healthy thing I've ever done for myself. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
so what you talked about the following that you have. What is that community like? What is the music scene like where you're from?
So the independent music scene isn't that big where I'm from, which is why I feel like it's a like good time to like tap into it right now. And I feel like that's why there's a lot of people like that look like me that are coming up in that space, like Indian artists locally. They're starting to like make a name for themselves. It's
What
because
genre of music is it there?
so the thing is, in India in general, you might have heard of like Bollywood songs and things
Sure.
like that, right? Like that's kind of like the standard for across the board for music, meaning it's all about like a dance sequence, and you have to have something to dance to, whether it's a ballad. There's a lot of ballads, but still danceable, and like pop, like electronic and pop.
Okay.
It's very versatile, but ultimately it's all movie music.
Okay.
So all it's every movie in India is like a musical, basically, right? It's like there's the movie, and then
Right.
it breaks down into like 5 or 6 different songs throughout the movie. That's why they're like fucking 4 hours long. The movie's like, you know, like an Avengers level movie, right? Every movie. So, um, it's that's sort of genre is like between, like I said, it's between the ballads because they have the love songs between the guy and the girl, or they have like the dance number, where it's like a party song.
Right.
So kind of like that. So there's most artists are only prevalent through movies. They have to know someone in the movie industry, and they only make movies. They only make music for that specific movie. So they don't have a lot of
Huh.
like with their creativity. You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that's why the independent music scene is starting to come up, because now artists are like, well, we want to make our own path. You know what I mean? We want to like make our own music directly to our audience members instead of through a movie. You know what I mean? Because the movie industry, that's the India has the biggest movie industry in the world. It's like a behemoth, right? They
Oh, I
make
know.
like
Yeah, it's crazy there. It's
it's
crazy.
nuts. Like I think it was like last time I checked, it was like over 2,000 movies a year. You know what I mean? Which is nuts. And so that's a big even though it like bolstered like a lot of jobs and it's great for the economy of India, it's actually an obstacle for independent artists to put
For
out their own.
sure. But if there's a
So
wave getting started, bro, I think
yeah,
it could catch, bro. I really do.
yeah, exactly. So I'm in a unique position where I can like tap into the American audience,
Yeah,
and so I'm trying to like do the yo-yo act of like seeing whatever strikes gold first, but
that's
keeping
awesome.
keeping both in mind. Yeah.
That's really cool, man. So, what does success in music and in life look like to you?
So success in music for me is just making an impact with my core fan base, whatever that is. Like I said, I'm still establishing myself. I've still got a long way to go, but if I make an impact within my core audience, and like I want that core audience to be a pretty sizable audience as well, right? Not just like my community. I want to be known as an artist, not just an Indian artist, not just I don't want people to listen to my stuff and be like, oh, that's a good rapper. Like for a guy from India, I want people to listen to my music and be like, oh, I really fuck with this guy's shit, and he happens to be Indian and from Japan. That's a unique perspective. That's what I want. That's the impact that I want to have on not just Indian kids and not just Japanese kids, like just everyone everyone over here in America, right? And hopefully back home too. So something of transparency where you can like really express yourself, right? Because I always express myself completely in my music, stuff that I'm, even in person that I'm too nervous to say. I say it on the song for sure. All the stuff that I went through in my past. I want like to make an impact for my core audience where they can also feel like they can do something like that and they can express maybe not in art, maybe not in hip hop, but in some way or some form they can be more expressive of who they are and not repress themselves. You know what I mean? Like I did, or like many people that I'm sure who are listening to my music did as well. And that's how I see success in music. Success in life, honestly, man, it all comes down to just life setup. You know what I mean? I want to be able to set up my life the way I want on my own terms. Like I obviously I want the money. I want the success. I want all the accolades, but um, I'm willing to like sacrifice some of that if I can like set up my life the way I desire to set it up. And what I mean by that is, you know, I like setting up some things like my own schedule, setting up things like my own art pieces, my own like having creative freedom and also financial freedom, to an extent. So like the way I want to set it up, and that's for me success in life.
Hell yeah. You want to wake up every day and do what you want to do.
100%, bro. You said it best. Yeah.
Tell me something unique about yourself. Could be something random from elementary school or something that most people don't know.
Oof, man. Something unique about myself. I feel like I just poured out my heart to you, man. So I feel like I said like everything.
What
But
was
let
your
me
first
think.
job?
My first job. So I used to work as an insurance agent, man. That was my first like actual job. I used to work for Aflac,
Okay.
and that was like an
How old were
early
you?
college. That was an early college. I was like 20 years old
Damn.
already. But
Damn.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I used to work for Kumon and I sorry, Aflac, and I used to sell like not life insurance. I think it was like a group insurance, and I made like no money in that job, man. It was like I was just like knocking on like doors in that Florida heat in the summer,
Oh
make,
God.
making like no. I'm wearing like a suit and everything, making like
Oh
no. It was
no,
just
no one's
amazing.
gonna get insurance from someone knocking on the door, bro.
Exactly. I don't even know how that business model works, bro. But I mean, like no money, dude. It was just but it was really good in the character building aspect. It really
For
like
sure, especially for a shy guy like you to go put yourself out there, knock on doors, and try and get rejected constantly.
get rejected constantly, bro. Like it was just like it kind of like sharpened up my like my whole resilience to like adversity. So
And
it
that was
was
right when you started making music too, right?
yeah, around that time. Around that time was when I started writing and putting out music. So maybe it goes hand in hand.
I think the universe was telling you it's time to come out your shell, man. Like,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I think so. Maybe that was the key that unlocked it.
did you graduate college?
Yeah, I did. I did like I studied like business and I got a business degree.
From where?
From University of South Florida from in
Okay,
Tampa.
okay.
Yeah, so
Um,
that's what I do like day job wise. I do work as like an analyst, a business analyst.
no
So,
shit. Okay.
yeah.
Do you work from home?
Yes,
Oh
remotely.
man, that makes the music thing easier.
So much easier, man. I feel like I lucked out too because like I got this job like 4 years ago, and that's the longest job I've had. And I stayed with the job because they respected me enough to like let me work from home after the pandemic. They're like, you can continue
Oh
working
yeah.
from home. Like,
Yeah, you got me. You got me
I-
for sure,
I'm
man.
like, bro, that shows like the amount of trust they have in me and the respect they have for me. So I'll give respect back to them. You know what I
Damn
mean?
right.
Like,
Damn right.
the like that's the kind of mutual respect that kind of goes hand in hand to like life setup, right? This is like the life setup I was looking for fucking forever.
Mm-hmm.
So I love it, dude. I love like having that balance, work life balance.
For sure. No, that's awesome, bro. Like you got yourself set up, bro. I mean, and you got a plan. I think it's gonna work. I really do.
Yeah, yeah. Well, knock on wood, man. But going for it, bro.
uh, is there anything you got coming up that you want to talk about? Any projects, any videos, anything like that?
Yeah, so I got a couple of singles coming out before I drop my big project, my big album later this year. So I plan on dropping the project in August, like the big album. But I got a couple of singles coming out where I really get to flex for the first time, flex my Tamil, my native mother tongue language, and so I really hope it resonates more with like my community. You know, because up till now they've only heard me rap mostly in English. You know,
Right.
I rap about like being Tamil and shit, but I rap in English. But this time I got a few like lines and few bars where I'm actually rapping like bars consecutively in Tamil,
That's
which is a
cool.
because I'm such a like a prolific writer in English, so it was definitely a challenge. But I'm excited, man. I'm not gonna lie, I am a little hyped, bro.
For
I
sure,
think it's
bro. You're gonna be like the Indian Selena, man. Like
yeah, I love that, bro. I've never been. That's a first. I've never had that before, but I would
you're
love that,
gonna
bro.
start getting more, bro. You start doing bilingual songs like that. That's where it's at for real. Like that's how you get to be an
Yeah.
international star, man. Like
Yes, sir. Oh shit, that's a great, bro. That's like one of the best compliments I've had musically like ever. So I appreciate. I'm gonna remember that, man. I appreciate
hell
it.
yeah, hell yeah. Unless there's anything else that you wanted to say, that's the end of the questions that I have.
Yeah, yeah. No, man. I had a great chat, bro. Like, thanks again for doing this. I love like frankly talking about myself. You know what I mean? And this is a great way for me to do that and talking about my music specifically, right? So I appreciate you just taking the time to do this, man. And it feels good to get like a lot of this stuff out there, like vocally to like another person instead of just like myself. So I appreciate that, man.
No, I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that. This has been Character Acid. Really great conversation with Shibu. He's a super unique individual with a background like no one else's. He's making super unique music, man. It's been a great talk. Thank you for coming.
Thanks a lot, Corey. Appreciate it, man.
I'll see y'all next time.